Professor Passler, could you explain your project in a few sentences to our audience?
Yeah, the name of the project is actually not a typo. We call it ROPOD. ROPOD stands for robotic pods. Now, what is a pod? In maritime engineering, underneath the huge vessels, there are small engines which can be steered around the yaw axis, and with these pods, you can basically maneuver a very large load, a very large vessel arbitrarily precise. And we try to sort of pick up that idea by creating what we call ROPOD. Stands also for smart vehicle. This is nothing but a very compact, differentially driven pair of wheels, which is completely self-contained, which means the controllers are inside, sensors are inside, and also the battery supply is inside, so that you can take this pod, this smart wheel, and place it underneath a very large load. One of these pods can carry actually 200 kilograms and has a maximum velocity of 5 meters per second, so this is 18 kilometers per hour. With this, we have a very powerful, very flexible drive engine, and basically the nice thing about these pods is you can place them everywhere. You can place them underneath a huge load. You need enough of them, but then you can transport basically any load. What we want to do is use that technology to also come up with a rather disruptive approach for HEVs in hospitals.
I see.
There are two barriers if it comes to automating logistics in hospitals, although this is already a big business right now. The huge barriers are cost. So we have a hospital chain, German hospital chain in the consortium. They asked for a quotation for a while ago from an established manufacturer, and they got a quotation for 2 million for around 10 HEVs. That's what I remember. And then they started calculating how long it would take them to amortize this investment.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the calculation turned out it would be 10 years. So in 10 years, the technology would be totally outdated, and most likely also the vehicles would be worn out. So that's one barrier, the cost. The other barrier is what these guys want us to do is transport basically every vehicle, every trolley in the hospital from sort of along logistics areas, from the goods reception department to the ward. And of course, they don't want to have a specialized robot for every trolley, for every vehicle. They would like to have something that is able to handle all of them. Mm-hmm. And not only the trolleys, but also the sick beds. So we counted, we have around 20 different vehicles with 20 different wheels, mm-hmm. Which we would have to actuate with these robotic pods. And that's also a challenge which we want to face. We were trying to use these pods, or to integrate these pods into a customizable vehicle, which can really deal with all these vehicles. So a big challenge, certainly disruptive, because the current HEV technology has reached its limits, yes, and is also way overpriced for what they have in mind.
So just a question about navigation inside the hospital. Is this part of this project?
It is part of the project, of course. It's not the outstanding part, but what is extremely important if you transport large loads autonomously is to make the system safe. So one major aspect is compliant navigation. Mm-hmm. So ideally, we have with these large vehicles, with these large pods, then small pods carrying large loads. Yes. A behavior like we have for the Roombas or the lawnmowers. Yes. You want to kick them away. Okay, kicking them away may not be the solution, yes, but what we does not do,
any harm to any.
Exactly. We will attach safety sensors, mm-hmm. capacitive safety sensors most likely, where you just have to get close to the vehicle and already senses your presence, and then
so this part could move a bed into the disinfection station,
exactly,
and then it is empty and comes back to its garage or something like
this. And here comes the aunt aspect. You were asking,
yes,
is this aunt? So the idea is to have not big vehicles, but to integrate these pods into small vehicles, but then assign a task not only to one pod, but to a fleet or a flock of pods.
I see.
Okay, so the larger the load, the more vehicles you need.
Sure.
The smaller the load, the less vehicles you need.
So they have to communicate with each other
exactly
and cooperate.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to tell our audience? A message about cooperation and maybe European exploitation of your technology?
Absolutely. It's a small consortium. We have two very small enterprises. But these two enterprises have an uttermost interest in commercializing technology. There is no risk that this technology will end up as a dust catcher somewhere in the basement, because these companies make the living out of this business. That's number one. Number two, we're talking about service robotics in public environments, in crowded environments. This morning we had a very hot discussion about legislation. There are standards and legislation in place, but we may have to really rethink them. If we move through a concourse in an airport or a railway station at business hours or rush hours, we usually run into people. We don't feel offended. We don't consider this as a collision. So it's rather normal. I mean, the important thing is compliance and basically the knowledge, well, this other person also tends to avoid collisions, tends to be compliant, tends not to create any damage. If we want to operate service robots in public environments, the concept of collision must be avoided seems to make sense, but at the same time, if you move a service robot, a mobile robot, through a crowded environment like you find in the basement right now where all the people are having lunch, the only solution is stop the vehicle and wait until the crowd is gone. The crowd is gone. So if we want that, that will be a solution. But if we're able to really design compliant robots, then there is more options. But then we also have to really think about new regulations, rethink what safety means. Still, of course, no person must be harmed, the environment must be protected, but we can possibly afford things which we do when we move and through a public environment.
So I understand this is maybe a suggestion to have a paradigm shift in safety measures. Okay.
Yes, I mean, we have to work on that.
Yes.
I'm not saying that we have a solution, but I think the public awareness needs to go away from robots which just stand still if something blocks the way.
Yes.
We have to make robots smarter than doing
I
just
wish
this.
you good luck with your project.
I thank
you very much, Professor
I
Trussler.
thank you.